If you're considering choosing the best payroll software out there but can't make a decision, I'm here to help you out. I've been experimenting with a few different platforms and I came across both Gusto and Paycom. Both of them are pretty highly recommended from what I can tell, but I wanted to find out which one's the best option. So let's get into it. This is the ultimate showdown for the payroll software crown. Also, if you haven't signed up for Gusto yet, you can use my link down below in order to get $600 back with your sign up. First up, let's talk about pricing. Honestly, Gusto really impressed me here. They charge $40 a month and $6 for each employee you add to your roster, which is pretty reasonable if you ask me. That means if you have about 10-ish employees, which seems like a decent number for a small business, you'll be paying about $100 a month and all your payroll will be handled in a flash. I saved a ton while using the service because I would have had to pay through the nose for a whole accounting department without it. That makes it more than worth the price in my book. Oh, and another cool thing is that the setup is completely free. So you only pay the monthly fee and nothing else, which was a nice little surprise for me when I found out. Not to mention, they give you a 1-month free trial to try before you buy, which deserves some extra points, I'd say. Now, as far as Paycom, it's a little complicated. They were pretty mysterious about their pricing policies. In fact, they don't even have it advertised on their site. You have to call them to get a custom quote, and then you have to go through a whole process where they demo the software for you and assess your needs. It was a bit of a hassle, honestly, and I prefer Gusto's more straightforward payment model. That's not to say that Paycom is super expensive, at least in terms of monthly fees. They charge about as much as Gusto per employee, but I have to talk about those setup costs because they were steep. Like, I had to pay $500 just to get the dang software up and running. Mind you, that's only for companies with 15 employees or under. If you have between 15 to 40 employees, you have to pay a whopping $1,200 to get the ball rolling, which is a bit of a demerit in my book. As if that wasn't enough, Paycom makes you pay extra for some pretty essential features. Everything from unlimited payroll to automated tax filing will add to your monthly costs. Gusto provides all of these services for free, which really shows how much they care about their customers. Overall, I'd give Gusto a 5 out of 5 for pricing. Paycom gets a 2, and that's only because I'm being generous. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about performance. Starting with Gusto, I really appreciated how intuitive everything was. Employees can get a direct deposit within a day, and you can set it all up to happen automatically with their autopilot feature. We all know how frustrating it can be when employees have to wait around for their pay to come through. Both for them and for us employers, I can totally see myself leaving that all behind with Gusto, so props to them for that. Stuff like documentation is stored in one location, so you can access tax filings and payroll data all in the same place. The software also lets you automate deductions, which can save a ton of headaches for an HR department out there somewhere. Also, there's this super handy Gusto wallet that employees can use to check on their payment information and taxes. It has some great financial tools too, which I thought was a nice added touch. On top of that, employees can take up to 40% advances on their next paycheck, and all those deductions are automated, so you don't have to worry about it. Pretty neat overall. But how does Paycom stack up? Well, one thing that set it apart was that dashboard. I really felt like Gusto should add some sort of central hub where I can just manage payroll processes, and the fact that Paycom offered one was a huge plus point for me. It's also a fairly easy to use dashboard, which was great because I'm trying to make my life easier over here. Paycom also does a great job with all of the basics, which includes tax withholding, deductions, paid holiday tracking, and what have you. By the way, if you decide to try this software out, be sure to try the automated assistant tool Betty. It's a great way for employees to raise any issues they might have faced with getting paid. And you won't have to lift a finger. Super convenient for employers and employees alike. Another advantage that Paycom has over Gusto is their superior HR management system. Paycom has some solid acquisition tools and verification systems. that have the potential to take my hiring to a whole nother level, which is pretty essential if you want to grow fast enough. Like, they even make it easier to conduct background checks, which is something I definitely wasn't expecting. Gusto's no slouch because they have attendance tracking and onboarding features and all that good stuff, but what they don't have is compensation management. Also, I should probably mention that most of their good HR features are locked behind a paywall. But here's the thing, Paycom doesn't manage benefits as well as Gusto. I have to say, Gusto can make the whole payroll procedure feel absolutely seamless because of how it handles benefits and expenses. Of course, Paycom definitely holds its own with attendance management and better security features from what I could tell. So they both brought their A game in this round. Both platforms get a 4 out of 5 for this round, bringing Paycom to 6 out of 10 and Gusto to 9 out of 10. With that said, Paycom might have a slight edge in one area: deployment. This is especially important for larger businesses because you'll definitely need some on-premises options to make sure everything's going according to plan. Gusto only offers cloud-based access, which might not be enough based on the size of your operation. It's not a deal breaker, so Paycom's not getting any extra points for this, but I felt it was worth mentioning. However, when I started to take a look at their training resources, Paycom started to take the lead. Gusto definitely has the user-friendly vibe going for it, but Paycom works overtime to make sure you know exactly how to use their service. They offer everything from videos and webinars to in-person training sessions, which can be great for getting your payroll procedures off the ground. Gusto's lagging behind a fair bit here. Don't get me wrong, they don't exactly leave you high and dry. They provide a decent amount of documentation for you to read through, and their live online training is a great way to find your footing. But I've got to hand it to Paycom. They're really dedicated to making sure you get the most out of their service. The sheer variety of training support means that they get a full 5 out of 5 for me, and Gusto's not too shabby either with 4 out of 5. That brings Paycom to 11 out of 15 points. Gusto still has the lead with 13 out of 15. Now it's time to talk about user support. And this is where Gusto comes out ahead once again. Nothing frustrates me more than getting a software set up only to run into random issues later on. That's why it's so important to have great customer support. Gusto definitely doesn't take its customers for granted. Let me make that very clear. You can reach out to them over the phone or shoot them an email, which covers all of the essentials. They also provide a solid knowledge base to allow users to help themselves, so clearly they're not skimping out in this regard either. Granted, Paycom does a good job at ensuring a positive experience for their clients. Like, I found an FAQ and a forum where I could talk to other users, which just goes to show that they're pulling out all the stops to keep everyone happy. Okay, maybe it's not such a big deal. Maybe some of you don't really care for forums or FAQs, but from where I'm sitting, the fact that they offer multiple support options warrants a pat on the back. Both of these services get a 5 out of 5 here. Gusto now has 18 out of 20, and Paycom just missed out on the top spot with 16 out of 20. In the end, Paycom got off to a rough start because of their pricing, and they just couldn't compete with Gusto in most of the areas that mattered. With so many features inaccessible to businesses that want to save money, you'll have a hard time getting the most out of Paycom. In Gusto's case, managing your payroll won't just be easy, it'll be affordable too. Factor in the excellent user experience and the employee-facing features, and you can see why I had to give Gusto my vote of confidence. Also, if you haven't signed up for Gusto yet, you can use my link down below in order to get $600 back with your sign up. So, are you going to try either of these platforms out? Let me know what you think if you do. But that's all for now. See you in the next one.